I'm sorry for this pause, but I had noticed an error in the PPT and I didn't want that to come on. Um, Sorry. So y'all can see my screen, right? All right. So Architect Prashansha, thanks so much and looking forward to hearing from y'all. But before going forward, what we would like all the participants to do is, if you want to know more about Nitte School of Architecture, Planning and Design, you could go on to the DQ Edge platform. You could click on the Nitte School icon there. And once you click on that, you will be able to get some information about the school and inquire at the school as well. All right. Uh, the reason why we tell you to do this is because you will reach to the right people in the school to get the right information, and that's very important that um, that happens. All right. Now, the protocol that will be followed in this webinar will be as follows. So about 15 minutes, we are inviting Dr. Rekha Jetty, who is the director of Nitte School of Architecture, Planning and Design. She would be talking about the school and her vision for the school and what you will learn at that school. Um, for about a few minutes, she'll talk about that. And then we'll spend about 40 minutes talking about the topic itself with architect Prashansha, and then followed by a Q&A session. Please ensure that you keep your microphones on mute. If you have comments or answers to any questions, only answer in the chat. And what we'll be doing is I'll be moderating the session to ensure that maximum questions are answered and nothing is left out. However, there are times when you may want to ask your question. So you could raise your hand and we'll give you a chance to ask your question as well. Do ensure that you keep your question relevant to the entire audience. All right. Before we go forward, the Design Hackathon 2021 has been launched. These links will be shared with you in the chat box. So please register as much as possible and share this link with your friends as well. It's a very interesting program. It's happening as an online event for students from class 8 to 12. And Nitte School is one of those schools that is partnering with us on this to share their thoughts and their learning and their guidance and mentorship with a few teams, right? And there's multiple categories that y'all can apply in, including under architecture. And it's an interesting session, so we'd like all of y'all to take care of that. But now let's get back to the series and welcome Dr. Rekha Jetty. Good morning, madam. How are you doing?
Good morning, Dion. It is really very nice to have been part of this entire series of the lectures web series that have been launched by DQ Lab. And as usual, you are always rocking and doing very well. And the kind of support you are giving to the students in coming up with to pass the exams of NATA and design and not many things. In fact, the one student who had met you and has been able to get through this one NATA in the last moment, and a person who was not at all much aware about the technical part of the NATA, he was through. And he got very good scoring also. That was something which was amazing, and they have written actually to us about you, to our institute, like how well you people have done and all that. That's first of all, congratulations to you.
Thanks so much, man.
Point number two, like with regards to our institute, I would like to share a very small PPT, not elaborate, because due to the time constraint, I'll keep it very much limited. And people whoever want to get in touch with us, they can get in touch with us directly or to me directly, and we will answer them accordingly. Okay, so I'm just sharing. Just please allow me to share the screen.
It's allowed. It's allowed.
So first of all, let me introduce Nitte School of Architecture. It was started in 2016-17, and we have two programs here, one architecture and another is a planning. And with regards to the heading the departments various, we have architect Bindu Malhotra, who heads the Department of Architecture, Dr. Gayatri heading planning. And we have a research cell this year. We have got the research cell from the VTU, and it's an official research cell, and that is headed by Dr. Nalini. So students can, go ahead and do a lot of researches right from the first year. So research is something which happens in the school right from the start. It is not just talking about PhD, it is about the ability to research. So the ability to research, that is going on continuously happening. Now, with regards to affiliations and all that, as you can see in this screen, we are affiliated. We have the students chapter from IGPC, Jamasocham, and then we have a student chapter of IIA. We are the only student chapter of Indian Institute of Architects across India. Nowhere you will find another students chapter. And then we are also approved by AICTE, COA, Council of Architecture, ITPI, and we have NOSPLAN and NASA. These are the two student bodies, official bodies connected at the higher level with the All India students. And we are also recognized as Institute Innovation Cell. So the innovation probability of the students will be in concurrent with the researching that happens. We are also designated as the Nodal Center for Karnataka State Council of CEGR, where all the vice chancellors and chancellors and even AICT, all the statutory and regulatory bodies are connected. And it's the only think tank which has got about 4 innovations in its bucket. And then we have the other thing is we are also members of the ISTE. We have an incubation cell, which is from MSME. And then you basically like innovation and incubation, they are going hand in hand. We support the students for the startup. What you're talking about, the hackathon and all those things. Yeah, there we full-fledged support such development. So students here tend to do works which are totally different from the other institutes, because here it is on ground, like live projects they do. And there are many projects where they get funded, and the funding is also shared with the students. So that way, like students get benefited even in their fee structures, as if they are able to get through this projects and they are able to do well. Then second thing is with regard, because we are collaborated with large number of organizations, internships and placements are never a problem, both in architecture and planning. Planning is a program which is a 4-year approved by AICTE and ITPI with a 4-year degree program, which is in between architecture and engineering. And architecture is approved by Council of Architecture, as well as we have taken the AICTE because of the funding thing that AICTE gives to us, and even with GST for that matter, IST and VTU. Here you can see there are a large number of partners we have, and our faculties as such are from top premier institutes. That is something much creditable, because they are able to expose the students to new areas of development, such as even the smart cities, etc. You can see here, like these kind of association we have at the top institutes give the opportunity for the students to not only do the internship and also get the permanent employment in these places. Recently, like our students were invited by this Davangere Development Authorities, as well as the Mysore Urban Development Authority, to take up the employments. Now, why do you need to choose Nitte? This is something which is very important. We have certain salient features. Our teacher quality is extremely good, because we have the only institute having maximum PhDs in an institute. For example, like if you look at other institutes across Karnataka, for that matter, nobody has so many PhDs as we have. We have 3 full-fledged PhD, another 3 PhDs are completing, and another 10 faculty are joining the PhD programs. Now, and then we are connected. We are from NIT, IITs, and IISc. We have faculties have done postdoc from UC Berkeley, and we have got the funding from this Sciences Academy, National Science Academy, as well as the DST. These are the couple of places we got funding, even from BGST, ICT, IST, VTU, and all those funding we have got. Now coming down to, and most of them are master, none of them are having only bachelors, so that is another creditability. We have a student council, which is about 52 body member. The students have the voice here. The students decide what they want to do, what they want to take up. Anything that students says that we want to learn, we provide the faculty and the resources for them. And skill mapping is the first thing that we do when the students join, because there are a lot of things the parents won't know about the students, their own children quality. So what happens is we do the skill mapping and we find out what they are weak in, what they are strong in, etc. Every student is enabled to reach their threshold capability, and this threshold capability bar is continuously raised, so that the students go on improving upon improving. And they are also given through this skill mapping the proctors, which who will be by their side. All the 5 years, the same proctor will be there, which is more like a mother and father. And you have this 35% of the marks going routed through the proctors. So the students will never have a biased kind of marking. And design reviews, we don't tell the students to follow only our teachers. They can take the reviews across anybody, even somebody sitting next to them, an architect in the airport or something, they can take the reviews, but only thing that it needs to be written down, what is it reviewed and in which direction it is reviewed. So that this is only to ensure that the students, whatever they come out with the conceptual designs and their concept and their ideology, that is not tamed by the teacher and said that they have to do according to what the teacher's strength is accordingly. So with the result, what happens is students can do what they feel is the right. Only thing we will be ensuring that they don't go in the wrong path. Now, fee payment, like we never collect the whole year fees together. It is always a semester fee that we collect. So at the start of the semester, the student has to pay up that semester fee and they get the admit card. So that way the students get the provision of getting like, two times it is more like a 2 installments they will have. One at the first semester, then they have the second semester, likewise for till all the 5 years. Then reward and recognition. School has been rewarded with large number of award students in this. So I think for the reward and recognition thing, the students have to visit the campus or go through our YouTube to really know how many awards we have got and how much we are designated at various, we are into various advisory boards and all that, only because our students have performed exemplarily well. And now coming down to funded projects in plagiarism. Yeah, as I said already, like we have the funded projects and which students get the provision. Even after they have completed the program, the alumni can get associated with us for the startup projects. And we ensure that they are, like if they are social related projects, they get the funding very easily. And we have a plagiarism software launched in our library system, so that when the students do their assignments, all these are chucked through plagiarism. India is very much known for lot of doing the plagiarism. So that's the reason, like most of the Western countries and the Eastern countries, they are very hesitant to send their papers to any of the Indian conferences, etc. Now, like this IPR policies in India are getting strengthened, and in institutions also, like institutions like us, we have installed this plagiarism. So everything is the original work of the students that come out. And the students, if they are absent for any classes or something, they can go down to the library systems. They will easily get to know what was done in the previous class. The complete recording will be available and the presentations, and they can talk to their proctors and also their subject teachers, and they will not miss out any classes. Then we have got a very good facility of hostel, transport, infrastructure, campus facilities, bank, medical, counselors. Then you have sports and gym and many facilities and many eat outs specifically. This is something very important for the students, including the mess and all that. So this is available in canteens, mess, everything is available. And there are a number of eat out places in our institute. Training and placement. this is happening full-fledged, and all of our students are placed in very good architectural firms for the internships, and many of them are being trained now and to go abroad for their masters. And we have given very good recommendation letters to the students, so that the students can pursue their masters without any kind of an hitch. And now the entire campus has a technical open hub. It's a learning flexibility, like some of the subjects which are not part of architecture or planning can also be learned across other institutes of our campus. We allow the students to take up those electives, and it is come under the open elective concept. Then summer and the winter school, we don't have something called just a study tour where the students go and just click the pictures and come. Here we take the students, and the students are on the ground doing hardcore work on a project or something, and like that they move around in 3-4 stations, and then finally they submit a report. And our students are the only one who have been writing papers in the referred journals, including the Indian Institute of Architects and Council of Architecture journals. And that's how our faculties have altogether, if you look at our school number of papers published prior to coming to the architecture, there had been about 100 papers or so together cumulatively. Now it has gone up to 125 or so. And supportive management is exemplary in when it comes to supporting the students and any initiatives from the college. And this is particularly our advisor is Dr. Anna Shetty, who is Shetty sir, who happens to be the former vice chancellor of the Bangalore University twice, and then also the currently the chancellor of the Central University Kalburgi. And he has held many top positions in AICTE, ISTE as a president and executive members, etc., etc. And apart from that, you will find this is he comes from a family, Nitte family, where it's a village in South Canara, where you will find Santosh Hegde and Vinay Hegde, K.S. Hegde, who happened to be the late former Chief Justice of India. And even Santosh Hegde happens to be the former CGI, and also in the Lok Yukta. And Vinay Hegde happens to be the president and the chairman of this entire trust, as well as the Nitte group of institutes. So you will find the everything, all in all, management, teachers, leadership as a principal, and I've been a founder principal for many institutes. In Mumbai, there was an institute called Thakur School of Architecture. I was a founder principal there, and the founder principal here, and heading many other institutes quite as my experience. So with the result, we all come from very top premier institutes, from NITs, IITs and all that. And teachers are regularly had this SWOT being done, and even for the students and the time value management, and lot of initiatives, which probably the students, when they visit the college, I can give the complete this one. Now, just let us have a green campus feel. You are having, you can see this is our institute, which is designed by one of the top architects. And now you can see on the right side, the IGBC certification that we have for our institute, and Prashansha has got the AP certification, and she is approved to launch any kind of the certification programs. And this is our campus. I'm sure all of you would love to be joining this institute and enjoying your student life, which is very, very precious. At the master's level, you generally are extremely busy with your work or with taking projects, and you are so concentrated and busy in your life. But when it comes to the bachelor's, that's the only thing that can remain in the mind, like how well you enjoyed your student life in the bachelor's. And in addition to that, how well you learned, how good the teachers were, how supportive they were. These are the good memories that the student should have. And I think our institute provides for everything of that nature. And nowhere you will find the principal's cabin always open for the student. You can always walk into my chamber, talk to me in any frequency, and I'm here to help you and support you down. So this is our institute. I hope you will take admission in our institute and enjoy your student life. And with this, I think I'm going to hand it over back to, this is our interiors that you can see. And with this, I'll hand over. These are the facilities. I'll hand over to Mr. Dion back. And thank you, Mr. Dion, for giving us this opportunity of putting forward our institute. And in addition to that, the way you have projected about our institute, our good works and all, really it is very appreciable. So thank you once again, and back to you, sir.
Thanks so much, madam. I mean, we've come and seen the institute over the last so many years, and happy to see it grow and blossom the way it is. All
Thank
right,
you
so
so much.
fantastic. Right, over to architect Prashansha to talk about the session, continue the session. Go ahead, architect.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, a very good morning to ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me the opportunity to represent the school at this platform. I'm overwhelmed by this gesture of it. So yeah, hi, a very good morning to all my lovely students here.
Yeah. Madam, if you can switch your camera on, it would be great.
Okay, so yeah. So a very lovely morning to all my students there who are sitting and watching this webinar. First of all, I just wanted to say I had made my presentation in a not very elaborately, but a concise, so that you can understand, and thinking of the way that it's a Sunday morning. I will not take much of your time to waste your Sunday morning like this, but yeah, it's an important decision for you all to take a decision where you wanted to head on. So yeah, so I'll just share a screen, my screen with you all. So can you all see my screen? Is it visible? If like,
yes, madam, you can. Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask, so as Dion has mentioned that there's a chat box and you can ask me question wherever you feel like, you can stop me wherever you want me to answer your queries. So let's just go through what is happening around the world right now if we talk about. So there was a time when we all are knowing that we are currently undergoing a pandemic situation. It's coronavirus. So in between, there was a phase when people have started calling that it's now nature is repaying. So where there was a time in the news channels also, we have seen news saying that all the animals are set free outside in the zoos and everywhere, but only the humans are being, captive, like they are in their houses. They were scared to go outside of getting a virus. So what was that? It was a time when everyone all of a sudden started thinking about the earth, or started thinking about the environment, what we have done, what our ancestors has done, and what are we doing right now to our mother earth. So thinking all these things, taking all these terms, so there was a term which is being coined in such coined in the society nowadays on a very faster speed, is sustainability, is sustainable architecture. So if we go by with the term, what is sustainability? So I'll just divide these two words, sustainability and architecture. So your guys are being preparing for the architecture. So I'm sure that you know what is architecture all about. Is to study of designing and making buildings. Now we are adding one term to it. It's called the sustainability. What does that word mean? Sustain, in a very simple, in a very lame meaning, if you all want to say, what is sustainability? So sustainability is what? Meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Just one second. So if we add these two words, sustainability, sustainable architecture is what? Is an architecture that seeks to minimize the negative impact of building by efficiency and moderation in the use of material and development spaces. So sustainable architecture uses a conscious approach to energy and ecological conservation in the design. So I'm sure you must have seen a news coming in the coming during this pandemic time that people in Delhi or nearby Delhi, they were able to see the peaks of mountain. Why is that? Because all of a sudden people have stopped moving out, they have stopped moving the vehicles, they have stopped. So this, what has happened? The pollution is reduced. So pollution is reduced. So that is why we are able to see more our earth on a clearer picture. It was healing. The word, the right word to say is the word is healing, sustainability. So if we practice a sustainable architecture is not a very big thing if you see. Very small practice, even on a student scale, even on an individual person, if we practice some of the things, we are saving lot of energy. We are giving back a lot of energy to the environment, which is this need of it. You are seeing the term the global warming is all of a sudden the temperature is rising. I was not this after my marriage. I came to Bangalore. So before coming to Bangalore, I am from UP side. So I used to heard people saying that Bangalore climate is the most amazing climate of all. Why? Because the temperature never rises so much, and it is always that pleasing environment. But all of a sudden, and you don't need the use of ACs. But all of a sudden, when I moved back to Bangalore, I've seen the change, how the weather has changed, how the environment has changed. People are now using ACs. Why? Because it's warming outside. So these are the problem which we have created from our own end, and this is why our Mother Earth is repaying it. Then comes,
Madam, if it's possible to put this as a full screen um,
oh, that's right.
presentation mode. Yeah.
Just 1 minute. Just give me 1 second. Is it fine now?
Yes, madam, it's better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So now, sorry for that. Okay. So now comes, why is the need of sustainable architecture? Why, as an individual, why you think that there is a need of sustainable architecture? So architecture is an essential arena for sustainable innovation. Our homes, our homes are one of the most important assets of our lives with the help of sustainable architecture. A green design can successfully meld beauty and functionality together to save our planet. Like you see that our homes and office spaces, building lighting, heating and cooling, poor insulation, and integrating all these things into the sustainable surrounding environment, which has a lasting impact on energy use and costing. So this requires a lot of water, a lot of power, a lot of energy to keep them comfortable. Using ACs, they emit CO2, which enhance the global warming. So this is where the net zero building or the sustainable building, or you can say the green buildings come into the picture. These are nothing but these are the constructions are designed and built with the goal of creating positive impact on the environment and climate for the present and the future generations. They can combine energy efficiency and renewable energy to reduce power consumption, benefiting the environment and improve quality of lighting for the people that live or work with. So this is where actual need of these green buildings are coming to the picture. And one most important thing when people talk about the sustainable architecture, they have a very or I can say that they don't know much about it. They have a concept of if you plant trees in and around the building, your building will become a green building. No, it's a very false statement. It's not like that. It can be a one part to to enhance the comfort level of the building in and out, to enhance the quality of the wind. That can be one part, but only emphasizing on planting trees cannot call a building as a sustainable building, because right from the site, you have a site, right from the placement of the block on the site, before and after and during the on phase going, it's all the practices which we use on selecting the materials, on selecting the color, on selecting the techniques, building construction techniques. that all comes under the sustainable architecture. The practices, the practice of not harming back the environment, of not harming back the society. So coming to it, the principles of sustainable architecture. So is there anyone who has some doubt till here or want to ask something? Anyone? Okay, so I'll just take on. So what is the principles of sustainable architecture? On what, like, what are the moral aspect on which a person should think that yes, these are the principles of sustainable architecture? Is small is beautiful, heat with sun. Why we are saying heat with sun? So that you are not dependent on the artificial energy to heat up your building, because in the colder region you use what, heaters, which again uses the power and energy. So how it is, heat with the sun, or use the correct technique to enhance the heating effect. Then energy efficiency, a very small example if I would say to everyone, which I also used to practice, that when you're inside your room, your parents must be saying, though they don't have much knowledge about the sustainable architecture, but they do talk in terms of money, which is true. Like when you're not in the room, you switch off the lights and switch off the fan, which is a very good habit. If they are saying in a point of view that you are wasting their money, because the more it will switch on, the more electricity bill they has to pay. But in turn, it is also wasting the energy, electrical energy. So these are the very small habits of an individual should take on their own, and think that okay, if I'm not in the room, the all the electrical appliances, if there, it has to be switched off. If I'm there, it has to be switched on. In order to minimize these things, lot of modifications has come. If you are traveling with the public transport, longer back you used to have a normal tap where people just open it and forget about the closing it, and the running water is there. What is that? It's a water wastage. So now what they have used the timer, they have used the sensor where it can detect your skin, and then only the water will come, and the moment you will escape your hand, the water will go off. I'm sure you must have all experienced this in the hotels and in all the public and the commercial buildings. So these are the measures which they have taken to ensure that the building is energy efficient. Then comes the conserve water, use of local material, use of natural material. Use of local material, if I would say, how to say that local material, as in the material, if I am building my home or somewhere in a place in Bangalore, but my liking is that I wanted to build in a luxurious way, and I want some other tiles to come from abroad or some other places. So in that, what is happening? The cost will be high, the transport will be high, the conveyance charges will be high, and the going and taking the material back, what is happening? The pollution is happening. So that is why it is always said use of local material. Then comes the use of nature. This has to be, it is not the, it's an architect's duty, it's an every individual architect duty, that what he is serving to the society, what he's serving, what how he is building the environment, how he's building the commodity in order, and how to serve the society. So these are the practice of an architect. And this has to be, and now this is why this course has been, on a smaller aspect, has been enrolled in the DR syllabus also, with the subject called climatology. In that, you tend to learn the basic various types of climates out there in India, and how to deal with the different typologies of building which should come. Like a cold climate building will be different of a building which is in hotter climate. You must have seen. And the coastal climates where you have always raining season, you see that there is always a pitch roof. So what are these? They are the buildings which are representing the climatology, the climate type of it. You have seen that a Hawa Mahal. Why is that Hawa Mahal is built in Jaipur, Rajasthan side? Why not in Bangalore? Because the building, if you see the older construction, A very small, which I would say you must have experienced if you have gone to any fort or any palace, you must have experienced the weather just outside the palace and inside the palace. There is no AC, there is no fan. But you will, if you have not, then please do visit any of the palace, your choice, your place, any of the palace or olden buildings, olden constructions. If you visit, then the temperature just outside the building and temperature inside the palace, you will definitely see the weather, the temperature difference. The building those times were cooler, so what is that in older? So it's sustainable architecture is not what is, which is a new practice which is going. It is there through ancient time. There they must have not known the term called sustainable, but they know how to preserve nature. They know how to conserve environment. That is why now environmentalists, all the architects do visit these ancient buildings and do see the construction typology. How do they construct such a way? Then comes the save the forest, recycle material. That's the three principle: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Then the share facilities. Then what is green building? As I told you, to preserve natural environment around the project site while still being able to produce of a building that is going to serve a purpose. The construction and operation will promote a healthy environment for all involved. Minimize the disruption of land, water, resource, energy in and around the building. When you enroll in architecture, guys, I must tell you all that it's very interesting to see how your building will respond. Building can talk to you. Like if you see the installation of window, if you plan your design, if you design your windows in such a way that only this much amount of light will come and only this much shading will come, this is in your hand. And this is what architecture comes in. It's a blend. You will be able to blend your thought, how your building will serve the society. It's in your hand, and this is where the architecture comes in. It's to give it a shape. Your thoughts will be given a shape. What is green? If we talk about, first is energy efficiency, use of recycled products, use of renewable energy like solar, water, windmills. All these are the renewable energy. Then the water efficiency. If we talk about like what green buildings had taught us, what has actually taught us, if you see, then you must have heard the word five elements of nature, Panchbhutas, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. This you all must have known. But if we relate it, how architecture has taken its thing, it's same. So if we take as Prithvi as what? The sustainable site, the site or the place where a building is to be done. Jal is water efficiency. Agni is energy and atmosphere. Vayu is indoor environmental quality, how your indoor environment will be there. Akash is daylight and night sky pollution. So these are already there. If you see that these five elements of Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash is already there. We call it Panchbhutas. So how the architecture has taken its space and taken its form to relate it to the same thing, which in turn is giving us the same quality. So this is the last thing which I had covered. If you are in Bangalore, here are some of the examples which people have brought up. Is famous eco-friendly living in Bangalore. This Kachra Mani. It's a very famous house, and the architect or the person has taken a very Kannada thing, which means one man's trash is another's man trash treasure. So if you get a chance, do visit this home, see how it is being built from the scrap, from the trash, and it is now purely eco-friendly. You will not feel any type of discomfort inside the building. So GV Dasrathi has truly taken his idiom one man trash into another man's treasure to a whole new level. His home is called as Kachra Mane, which literally translates from Kannada into trash home. a man who strongly believes in reduce, reuse, recycle, and rethink principle. He has made his house literally from trash that he collected from demolished houses. So some of the sustainable features which is there in the houses, 80% of the fittings are from demolished houses. Wood is from scrap dealers and more household appliances bought secondhand. Part of the house, such as the windows, staircase, kitchen, cupboards, bookshelves, are made from discarded pine woods, packing cases that were polished using linseed oil. Solar power systems, rainwater harvesting units, and grey water recycling units have been installed. The house is constructed on an existing building and make use of the structure as it is without any changes. It took just 7 months to build this house, with the cost being less than half of what a conventional house would cost. So you can imagine this whole house is being not being taken from a new material or a new products from outside. It has been taken from a trash. It has been taken from a waste, and a new beautiful house is being constructed. It's a purely eco-friendly house. So you should visit if you are Bangalore. You should visit. And from our college, so if I would say that these things, if you go to the sustainable features, you must be thinking, how will you be able to do it? This is where we come into the picture. We are there. We will teach you to use these terms, use these facts, use these passive design strategies into your design. Because in the subjects, we try to mold your thinking in such a way that when you start designing your building, you should keep these aspects in your mind already. Okay. Then the other another example is Sanjay and Pratibha Singh House. It's again in Bangalore only. So this house belongs to an artist, and it's in Sringapura, about 13 kilometers from Bangalore. It was get away from the city. Their idea of simple living took the shape of environmentally friendly home that is comfortable in every sense. Enter the compound and you are greeted by a virtual green cave, a pagonian tree covered driveway. The house itself is built using a stabilized mud bricks that, along with the similar flooring, ensure the house is cool in summer and warm in winter. So if you just go through the last line, that they ensure that the house is cool in summer and warm in winter. So it, without using any artificial or the design strategy, active design strategy, this house is itself creating a thermal comfort inside the building for the occupants, just using some of the local materials which are environmental friendly. Again, the some sustainable features of this house is, with plenty of green around the house, the sunlight streaming is though the 8 foot tall windows and skylights. The house has just one rarely used fan. So in the entire house, if you could see, there's only one fan. Rest, the whole house is designed in such a way, the windows are placed in such a way, you will be able to learn, you will be able to do it by your own hand. You will be designing your own windows in such a way that you are totally independent on the artificial energy using fans or AC. The wastewater from the kitchen is recycled using a natural filter, a system of gravel, sand, and other sediments that does it using electricity, and that use the water the garden. The rainwater harvesting facility also waters the garden for 5 months a year. An organic garden is nurtured by vermicompost made from the wet waste. So these are what? These are some of the sustainable features which they have used in their designing their home. The last topic of my presentation is the Cisco building in Bangalore. It's been awarded as the LEED Platinum. So if you are getting a question, what is LEED Platinum? So these are rating systems. These are the rating system which evaluate the efficiency of a building. So in India, we have 3 rating systems on which the building is being rated. First is the Griha, second is the IGBC, and the third is the LEED. So these are what? These are the rating systems. You must have seen many hotels being rated as 5-star, 4-star, and 3-star. What are these stars? Or if you see on the appliances, your home appliances, you must have fridge and everything. You see there's a label 3-star fridge or 4-star rated. What rated by BEE, like Bureau of Energy Efficiency. What is that? These are the rating which has, evaluated the energy performance on the basis, and then they are being rated on their performance. So These are the rating systems. So Cisco building in Bangalore has been awarded as a LEED Platinum ID plus interior designing and construction certified by USGBC for scoring 96 out of 110 total points. So in LEED, it has 110 points to be, a building has to be point scores, and out of 110, it has got 96 points. So it has a high performance of glazing, energy efficient HVAC design, and uses recycled materials and rapidly renewable material for construction, ventilation, and temperature control, enable occupants to adjust temperature according to their preferences. So this is my last topic. I hope that I had covered most of your queries related to sustainable architecture, what it is, what are green buildings, and some of the features which you can utilize in your own way to make your building a better place to live for the future. Over to you, Dion. That's all from my side. I hope I had made justice to the topic for the beginners here. Yeah, over
Right,
to you.
right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been very interesting. There are some questions that are come up, and some of the things that I was curious about as well. Very interesting topics covered here in your presentation. Thank you so much for that,
Thank
madam.
you. Thank you.
If you can go up a little bit to the slide, this slide, right? Is this a house that we can visit, or is
Yeah,
it
yeah. These are the
usually?
houses. These are the houses where you can visit, like depending on their time and availability. They are open to see.
Okay.
They are
Okay.
open. The students, if they want to see the sustainable, yeah, obviously they can go and do a visit on these buildings. And it will be
All
good if you could, from your side, if you could plan a trip for the students to these buildings, and they could actually experience how these buildings will look.
yes, yes. In fact, we used to do this pre-pandemic. We used to take the students to see the
Yeah.
total environment projects, which is another very interesting set of projects in
Yes.
Bangalore.
Yes. Yes.
Um, right. So the question here is there a name of this house, or
It's the name is Sanjay's and Pratibha Singh's house only. It's very famous. You can just Google it out and you will get the address.
all right, all right. If you can scroll up again to the previous slide, yeah, this Kachra money.
Yeah.
Where is this located? Which part of Bangalore is this located?
It's in the middle of Bangalore.
Okay, okay. All right. So if we go and search for Kachra money on
Kachra
Google,
Mani,
it'll
you will
probably
get the full address. So these the names itself is so famous that if you just write it on the Google, you will get the address and you
all
will
right.
get the contact person where you can contact and go.
Fantastic, fantastic. Sounds good. Right. So these were very interesting.
As you told, like this, we have, as ma'am told, we have electives under this biomimicry and this environment responsive architecture and climatology. Before this pandemic, we used to take these students on these site visits to actually experience from the naked eye to see how it is and how it could, create that impact on them without on lavish things.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
All right. Right. So there's a question from Neela Subramani. How do we become a green architect? What does that have to do?
Okay, so how to become a green architect is what you have to do a specialized course. You have to do masters in sustainable architecture. First, you have to complete your B.Arch degree. That is of a 5-year course, and after that, you specialize like landscape is there, then the environmental is there. Then you can choose to be a sustainable architecture, MArch in sustainable architecture. After you do the sustainable architecture masters, there's some exams which I had myself has taken as IGBC. They have this exam on a regular basis for which you have to prepare thoroughly on their norms and standards and BS codes. So you have to clear that exam and they will certify you as the green architect, as the IGBC AP accredited professional. Same goes if you want to take as a GRIHA. So it depends on which rating system you want to work on. I myself has done on IGBC. It doesn't mean that if I have done the IGBC, I can't take Griha. I can take their exam because the content will be the same. The contents will be the same. You just have to take their exam, pass the exam, and you can become the Griha certified professional as well as IGBC AP professional. So
All
this is
right.
the
Just to understand it a little more, so first you have to do your bachelor's of architecture, or without the bachelor's of architecture, you can
You
become a green
can, there
architect.
are certain, if you have the knowledge, you can directly take the IGBC, but they do ask your BArch thing. There are many professionals who has not done directly masters. Yeah, directly after bachelor's, they can take IGBC AP exam and they can become the accredited professional.
All right. So the ideal situation is to do your architecture,
Yeah,
and
the
once you do your
best,
architecture, to do a master's in sustainable architecture,
yes,
and then get the certifications done. And there are three types of certifications. There's the
yes,
GRIHA, there's the IGBC, which is the International Green Building Council,
and
and
then
the
LEED.
LEEDs.
Yeah,
All right. One who wants to focus on green architecture can select either one of these or multiple all these
multiple.
certifications.
Yeah, it's purely on the individual choice, like whether he wants to do in all the three or he wants to pursue only in the one.
All right. All right. Very interesting. And now, like you mentioned, with the sustainability coming into the forefront,
Yes.
what are the opportunities that you see for students who decide to do this, right? Or,
See,
yeah, in terms of that.
yeah, the thing is that if you could see, as long as the humans are there on Earth, the buildings has to be there. If a building is there, an architect has to be there to design it. And seeing the trend, the depletion of the environment, and the global aspect, this sustainability is now covering the across the globe. The rail minister last 2 3 years he has put out a frame called e-rail seva, where he was also associated to see that how much waste is being generated by railways. So every institution, every aspect of the society is now working towards this to make the earth a better place to live in. So for long as that, there has been a n number of opportunities which students can take and become a green architecture.
Right. But right. So in terms of green architecture, while architecture itself in India, it seems like many of the houses or constructions being done right now are really just being randomly put up, right? So the focus on, say, a house which has some level of green architecture is not so omnipresent right now, right? It
Yes.
seems to be very niche at this stage. And with the examples that you've shown, the Skachra Money and the Singh's residence, it shows that they can actually use regular materials or waste materials or locally available materials to create these homes. How expensive is it? I mean, is it expensive to reach these levels of, suppose I have to build a house and get the level of certification, maybe like a Griha certification for my house, right?
Okay.
um, how expensive is it? Is it expensive, or can it be compared with a um, regular construction?
See, the very initial phase of construction of a building, if you are going on a Griha aspect and you want to rate your house a Griha rated house, then it is affordable, I can say. It's not that expensive. It's not that a normal person can't afford it.
Right.
It just there is so many techniques that people think, oh, who will go into so much detail? Let's just construct it. But they don't understand the harmful effect what they are causing. That is why, if I will tell you, Dion, nowadays all these development authorities they have made a mandatory point in their clause stating that if any commercial building is coming or any residence is coming up, you have to approve your plan, right? So what they do is they do mention it if there are any trees on your site. If there are, suppose you have 10 existing trees in your site, and due to the construction you need to cut those trees. So they will make sure that if you're cutting 5 trees, in return of it, you will place 4 trees or 5 trees in order to compensate it. Only then your building plan will get approval.
Mhm.
So these are the measures which now all these authorities are also taking on the, if you go on the construction phase, so these are the measures they are already taking up. So either you want to do it or now, but now it has been making a mandatory type of scene that you have to do it. Only then your buildings will get a closure.
Right. I think that brings up an interesting point because one, you're talking about mandates and regulations.
Yeah.
The other aspect is actually following the regulations and ensuring things are done, which is more a question of us as people accepting the regulations and understanding that it's good for us, right? For
Exactly.
example, for a sake of regulation, I can have a rainwater harvesting system in my house,
True.
but a lot of times it's not even functional, right? Just because the regulators ask me for it, I do it.
Yeah.
um, how important is it to get this mindset change in the general public, and what steps can we take to encourage this mindset change?
See, it's an individual response. It has to be, first of all, it has to be an individual responsibility. On top of it, you are actually doing good the place where you are living in. Like I have a very small example I have given it, like it's a very normal tendency. I myself sometimes I forget that if I'm not in the room, I'll forget switch off the fans and lights. Or like if too much of water waste from the kitchen sinks and all. So these are the very small aspect for you to take act upon and to think on. Like these are very smallest measures which you can take, and this will create a lot of wonders to the environment. So now people are using ACs in Bangalore. What will happen after a decade? This will tense, and the climate of Bangalore will definitely change. So according to NBC, that's National Building Code, India has 5 types of climate. But now they are actually figuring it out that there is a 6 type of climates also. There'll be a change of division. Like hot and dry climate was only supposed to be in the region of Rajasthan, this Jaipur side. But now the stretch is becoming more because we are experiencing more temperature difference. So this will again, a code will come that will specify the different types of climate which already exists in India. So a very smaller step, planting of trees, not wasting water, not wasting energy, switching off lights and fan. It's the very, I'm more and more specifying on this because these are the things which will actually, these are very smaller to think and talk about, but these create a thousands of impact. Across 40% of the energy is being wasted by the building, and it emits 48% of CO2 to the environment. So you can just measure the numbers, how it is being there. And with the upcoming environment, this COVID situation has taught people to live in minimal, yeah, to not to go outside, to not take their vehicle outside for the smaller purposes. So these are some of the measures which an individual should think, I should feel like, if they really wanted to sustain that the future generation should live in a peaceful world.
Right. And I think just to add to that, it's interesting that you note that individuals can do a lot of changes in terms of lifestyle changes,
True.
right? But when you mention that a sustainable house can reduce your electricity bill, can reduce your power consumption, the water consumption, the dependence on the grid, and creating a much more natural environment for light, reduction of consumption of light. So all these are interesting things. Um, is there any kind of a study saying that okay, a sustainable house under this maybe certification will save so much more energy in terms of saving cash savings, or some benefits, something that we as normal people can relate to? Is there some comparison format that you'll have?
Dion, can you just repeat your question? I just
All right. So let's say now, me as a normal person, if I would like to build a sustainable house, right? My perception is, oh my God, number one, why do I take the trouble?
Okay.
Number two, what is it? What is the benefit for me, right? For building a sustainable house.
Okay.
Now, all what you've spoken is in theory, right? But if there is a,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably practical as well, but for me as a layperson, it's theory, right? So is there a comparison that, say, two houses in the same area, one is not following sustainable norms, the other one is,
Hmm.
and how one actually in the long term, the sustainable house in the long term actually saves a lot more money
Okay.
for the owner? Is there some kind of a comparison like that?
Okay. So first of all, I wanted to correct you on this that building a sustainable house is not a trouble at all.
Hmm.
And it's very easy in construction. You just have to give a detailed approach to it. That's all. And from my aspect, if you would ask, like, what is the cost comparison? These are the smaller aspects which, or the smaller passive design strategies which you are following. Like, if you are generating electricity in your house through solar water, through solars. So now government has are trying to give the subsidies to the owner if you are generating electricity on your own house. So this is the one profit which an individual can get through. Secondly, see, the in terms of money, I can't really talk about the money, how much money will it save or how much benefit it is. But the thing is that, yeah, when it comes to your future generation, why won't you do it? My question is this: why you don't want your uh, kids to grow in such an environment where they don't have to use mask and where they are free to actually enjoy the luxurious green environment? Why you want to give them all those artificial, and it's a proven fact, why all these yogas and nature cure centers are coming in picture? Because of these things only, people are now moving towards the nature to actually may experience that freshness. And in money, it will be a very smaller digit, if I would say. I'm not sure in terms of money aspect, like how much you can save from the money. But yes, there is a definite profitable experience if you go with the sustainable sites.
All right. So it seems like, so from what I understand from what you said, is that the financial impact may or may not be significant, but it's more a moral impact that's more, uh,
Exactly.
yeah, that's more significant, because that's what's going to create a better
A
future for
healthier
us
environment, yes.
and an environment. Right, right, right. Fantastic. That's very interesting. Um, Dr. Rekha Jetty, if you'd like to add something to this.
We have Dr. Gayatri, who has specialized in the complete energy efficiency as well as the sustainability. She has done her postdoc, and also she was part of that Obama and Manmohan Singh government bilateral agreement on developing, say, building innovation systems for the countries like India, tropical countries, and coming out with the solutions. And she has been part of that book called Building Innovation Guide. So those of them who are interested to know more in depth can actually approach our institute, Dr. Gayatri. Right now, recently, IGBC came out with a Green League competition, actually, quiz, All India quiz, where about more than 400 people actually participated in that quiz. And she stood seventh in the country. She's the seventh in the country with 400 people in the particular it is a competition where it was meant for a certification program of training and all that. So these details can be given by her in much more depth because she's an authority in this field.
Phenomenal. I think that's important, that anyone who's interested to learn a little more about this can definitely reach out to this
Yes.
school. Um, Rion Fernandez is asking a question. Setting up of solar for conserving energy in a house is very expensive. Hence, it's very difficult for a middle class family to afford, right? is there are there better solutions, or is there any different options for in terms of affordability?
Okay, so my take on this is it's not costly at all. First of all, my take on this is installing solar water geyser, because it's a multi-purpose thing which not only water generates electricity, you can use as a water heater also. And also, plus on top of it, I told that if you are installing solar waters, government gives subsidies. So it's not at all expensive, I would say. And yeah, there are research going on how to make it more efficient, more workability. So yeah, research is being still going on, and it's a field of where people are now, it's being coming on more trend, so people are giving more stress upon it.
All right, Dr. Jetty, if you'd like to add. You're on mute. You're on mute, madam. Yeah.
Yeah, recently I have done one project on which we have this solar heating as well as lighting. Okay. In fact, both of them, they are certainly not costly. One, government gives subsidy, as madam said clearly. And apart from that, even the meter bills, that there is a deduction of 50 rupees or so, for each unit. So, I mean, each block of building. So with the result, cost-wise, it is not. And another very important thing you have to know is like electricity is much more costlier. Per unit cost is very high when you are directly heating this one. Heating is a very important thing which solar can provide with the very cheapest cost. And it is, continual, it is a perennial kind, because you are getting the solar energy on a continuous basis. One. Another very important factor is like what we have done in a couple of houses is we have integrated the lighting along with the substation lighting that comes into every houses. Along with that, we have integrated the solar. So what happens basically is like when the lights are, when there is electricity is off or there is a problem in the electricity, this solar takes over and it's the house. And it is really proving to be very, very cost effective for us. And also all those people who have installed this particular system, it has to be taken together. It cannot be like you independently only solar lighting. Between heating and lighting is little costlier, but heating is pretty very cheap. And even in the lighting, when you integrate it along with the raw power, then it is pretty cheaper.
All right. Thank you for that. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So I think also, so in terms of this, I think technologies are being developed and improved upon, and we're seeing, in especially other countries, there are large solar electricity projects coming up as well, Middle East and all of that. And the second thing, probably when I was with Mahindra and Mahindra a few years ago, I used to work closely with their sustainability teams. And what we found, is that um, number one is in terms of the solar panels and all that, there is you don't even need that much light. Even in cloudy conditions, you can still garner a lot of electricity from that, and that's sufficient. So I think improvement on technology is going at a tremendous pace, and that's helpful as well.
Yeah, see, when you are looking at generation cost, electricity generation cost, the raw power is really costing us quite a lot, both in terms of the thermal as well as the hydel. Whereas in the case of solar, it is absolutely not so, because it's naturally it is coming down, and you need all these photovoltaics cells to be placed, and that's the one which is going to take over. So even as you rightly said, even in the cloudy conditions, you will get hot water in your all your bathrooms and kitchen everywhere. So it is really something which we are not spending money for. Solar, we are not really spending money for the energy that is coming in. We are only spending money for it to be passed through the pipes to the various units in the house.
Right. All right, I think we've come to the end of our session. It's almost 10:30, and it was a lovely session, very informative and very interesting. And madam, if you can just scroll up on um, if you can just, yeah, to this 5 elements of nature. I think this was a beautiful slide that you put in to showcase how sustainability and our traditions are integrated as well, you know. um right, right. All right. So right, so last thanks so much. I think we'll be ending this session. um Madam, I think you're sending the messages to me directly. If you could send it to the group, it would be good. If you can select everyone and type in your answers, your comments. Yeah. All right. But overall, thank you so much. So what Professor Prashansha is going to be doing, she's going to be sending some of this information. She's going to be concising it in terms of a PDF, which will be shared with all the participants here, so that there is a takeaway from this. And happy to have you here.
Thank you
And
so much,
thank
John. It was my pleasure to be a part of this session. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And thank you, Dr. Chandran, as well. It's been a pleasure having you over as always. You're on mute. You're on mute. I think you're on mute. Yeah. All right. All right.
Just 1 second, they have asked this question. There is one question here that what about the solar panels electricity? Isn't that costly? Well, see, anything that is one time you should which is recurring, there are two different things. When it comes to the solar, the recurring cost is almost not there. It comes to more mainly on the one-time investment. And when you look at compare that with the raw power from hydel or for the thermal, they are certainly costly. And solar can be definitely compared to the wind power basically. But the thing is, we don't have that kind of an wind energy that we can really pass it on to all the houses, and because we'll need to have those huge towers where the windmills have to be installed. So with the result, I have been using it. Actually, I have been using solar in my house for my whenever the electricity goes, it is lit up by the solar, and then my all my geysers and kitchen units, everything is run with the solar. And including my cooking, say my pressure cooker is solar. So I just keep it out in the rooftop and go away. And when I return back in the night, my rice is cooked, my dal is cooked, everything is cooked. So that is something you need to, even the utensils of the solar are helpful. So when you're thinking of solar, going for the solar along with partly with the raw power, because in case there is diminishing effect of the solar due to the weather conditions, the raw power can substantiate it. That way that you can bring down the cost per unit cost quite a lot.
All right. Thanks, madam, for pointing that out. I missed this question from Nitish Kumar. So, Nitish Kumar, hope your question has been answered. Thanks so much for asking that. And a wonderful point you brought out there, madam. There is the initial investment cost and the operational cost, and on both fronts, solar seems to be doing very well. So it's definitely something that we
Now
should.
it is getting mandatory also, like they are expecting that whichever the new buildings are going to come up, they'll make it very mandatory. And even the town planning department is making these things compulsory, even in the city, this one, even the city development also, the street lighting, everything, they are going, if you looked at even the speed breakers, everything is only on the solar basis. Those paints you have, solar paints, they are the one which are used. So solar is coming handy in almost in every way.
All right, fantastic. Right, thank you so much for a phenomenal educational session here, and looking forward to more interactions with the Nitte School of Architecture, Planning and Design. All right, thanks a lot, madam.